Okay, here we are in the planet of Amphion. We're going to show the player piano action on this 1921 player piano. We go down here and look at it. So I'm going to take that out because this one went underwater in Katrina, and I still got a bunch of crap that's coming through and making a bunch of buzzing sounds. The bellows actually have become delaminated, so we're going to go through and attempt to take the bellows out. So I'm going to go down below here. See if we can get this sort of focused in. These are the screws that are up here. There's a screw up here and one over here. And I've gone through and put a bunch of coil on there because this is a casting here. And so I've gone through and finally got this to where I can get this undone. I put a pair of vice grips on here, moved this back and forth, and I thought I was stripping the threads out. So I got behind here, there's actually a, this piece here is a casting, and then this is, looks like it's about a 5/16, but this hasn't been off since I've been in 4th grade, and so I got a pair of vice grips on here and got it to turn. I finally got this. I got a whole bunch of stuff in there. Now we're going to take this off. Before I do that, over here, I went through and took out this hose that goes from this box to the vent box up there. And then down here there's a hose. It's a Y connector. This has an electric unit they put on, which I really hate in the 80s. When I say hate, it always made way too much noise. I don't know if I didn't put it in right. This hasn't been out since the 70s. See, you got a lot of oil on there, which is good. What I'll do is I'll put that back in there. This one doesn't have a washer on it for some reason. Now, to go down here and look, looks like it's just got a cushion on there. I couldn't, this went underwater in Katrina, so there's a bunch of crap in here. I've probably already taken out about a gallon's worth of crap on this unit over the years. Oh, here's another hose. And this was really stuck on here. I got a little piece behind it to get it off, but then this is probably screwed this up. I may have to epoxy that. And then this is the tempo control. This goes to the speed control. Oop, gotta get that off too. But here we go. Let's see if we can. Look at all this crap. There we go. Wow, look at that. Look at this junk here. Yeah, this went underwater in Katrina up to about here. And I've been trying to get all the crap out of here over the it buzzes. There's been junk in here. I've been able to get behind here a bunch and vacuum a lot out, and I went ahead and got a metal brush to get on some of these base springs. Not on the axle part here, but on the, got a lot of junk out. But there's been a lot of buzzing action. So as I've been using this, a bunch of leaves and crap have been coming down. So I finally got this out of here. You can see the scum lines here of all the stuff as the water went down. You may wonder why I didn't just do this earlier, is that one, you just get overwhelmed. But he said to throw this away. And it's such an old unit. It's 101 years old now. And look how scratched those are. Those are all rusted up. And I've got in here as much as I could with the vacuum, but the bellows is totally in the way. So look at this. You got some piece of a book or notes. I found people's credit cards in different places. You can see up there the scum line. So what happens is when you have a room that floods in a house, you get to where you get crap that comes out, and then it goes through and it slowly goes down. You get little deposits. So you get a scum line up here, down. You can see there's one way at the top here. You actually got stuff I've pulled out that's way up into here. Now this box here is probably goofed up. I noticed this is stuck. The soundboard actually is in a lot better condition than I thought it would be. But just all this stuff on here, I've literally gone through and vacuumed tons of crap out. But all that stuff has just appeared probably in the last couple weeks when I've gone through and been playing around with the tuning, and you hear a buzzing noise, and then the more you use it, the more crap that just comes down through here. Now here's the piece that bolts on. Let me see if I get the focus better. That's like a casting. It has two holes that went into the top hole. And there's the other one. And that goes over here to like onto this. This is a casting. Look at the marsh grass. Look at the valves here. So a lot of this wood is completely delaminated. So they may be shot. Actually, the bellows material looks pretty good. It's like the wood here has gone through and delaminated. That's pretty common in stuff I've had in the house that went underwater. It's like it goes for a good while, and then all of a sudden the glue just totally somehow comes apart. It's happened in doors and things. And then the particle board on that air motor thing, the electric motor there, a lot of that just turns to cornflakes. I'm going to take that out of there. In fact, if I was going to run this thing off another one, I probably would hook one up in the attic or in another room or something, because this thing here, I mean, that's a name brand unit, but I think it's just not absorbed with any isolators. He's got it, some little isolators on the side, but this thing was just way too noisy when it ran. And then he's got a hole through the soundboard, which is kind of, I guess that's the way you got to do it so it looks better, but to me that seems a little bit hokey. See, all the strings are rusted. This was all just full of crap, and I've gotten in behind this. You can let the pedals down and get in there with a brush. It's just amazing how much crap is coming out. Now, on this unit, there used to be another bellows that was here, or may have been on the door, and it actually limited these pedals. When you opened up the unit in the front, the pedals will come down now and slash against the floor. There used to be an extra bellows that when the unit was bought in 1966 that was like a dash pot. And when this was put on over here, one of the relatives told me that they found an extra bellows and took it out. So I guess he didn't know what the heck it was for. I don't know. It kind of irritates me, but Now you can see all the crap in here that's stuck. I've been taking a mute and sticking it in there like this and just doing this with the vacuum cleaner and getting the vacuum cleaner and getting stuff out up on here, because it adds here a whole bunch of buzzing noise. So if you got buzzing on a key, you can have some crap up there. Toys, piece of paper, who knows what. You can have a dead animal, something in there rubbing against the keys, leaves. They're just going to make a whole bunch of weird action. So if you go through the keys and you hear one that's buzzing, a lot of times you bang on it a whole bunch, it'll go away because the leaf will come. I would find it would go down to a different note, and then it would appear in a lower note because the leaf was touching up here and it was falling down until I finally fished it out over here. I'm going to take the vacuum cleaner and hook up an extra small hose to get in there, because there's a gap of about probably 4/10 of an inch, say a centimeter, and suck all that stuff out. And what I end up using, I got an old Electrolux. I use these HEPA filters here because you don't have as much dust coming out of the back end. And so you get a lot of this is where you probably need to wear a dust mask. And you see how dirty all this crap is here? That has disappeared. I had it crystal clean here before I got the bellows out here. And you just get more and more crap that ends up falling. There's a bellows there that hooks up, I believe, to the sustain. There's a rod here that goes up. The way this works onto here is the bellows on the left side is used to go through and power the keys. And it goes through a hose to this box and goes upward and feeds the stack. And this is for the sustain. There's a piece that lifts that up onto here. And then you've got all these units here. Those actually fire the keys. You can go up under here. So you got all these rubber hoses that connect up to the holes up onto here. That's the air motor. And then the air motor supply, that tube up there, goes down through the regulator. Now I give it credit here, whoever worked on this back in the 70s or 60s, I think they put this in the 70s, they got a little note here. Actually, I think that may be my dad's handwriting on there. Looks like it. And then this is the regulator for the air motor, I believe. This connects up to the tempo. I've gone through and put 3M oil on some of this stuff here. You got to be careful with oil because you tend to collect dust and stuff. And then this piano here is sitting about 460. And when it was built, it was the standard 1921 was 435 hertz. Now you can see there's a leaf. Where did that come from? Just crazy stuff. So once I get the bellows out, I can probably get back into here with maybe a piece of plastic or something and just move it around, see if I can pull more crap out of there. This particular unit's got a cast iron frame, which is good. And then you've got the soundboard, of course, which is probably spruce. And then you can look, the grain on that is going upward. And what's weird is that this is actually a soundboard. Look in the back, it doesn't look like it's got any cracks. You think something that's been under salt water. I don't know if that's laminated or not, or I just got lucky. I got in here after the storm with a garden hose and blasted the crap out of it, but and the whole house got flooded. But this room here went to about, the mean level in the house is about 2 feet, but there's things in here. We had a set of whirl books that got splashed, or almost 4 feet high, because you get what they call velocity pressure, that in a hurricane, that if you got a blown out window or a door, the water has a pressure component. So I fished out all sorts of crap. You see, there's some stuff right there. I fished more and more junk out of here. Now, if this was outside in the garage, I would go ahead and just take this thing and just take a air hose and blast it. But this is inside a house, plus it just creates a big mess. This thing weighs, I want to say, 850 pounds, so it's not a lightweight thing to screw around with. Typically, the stuff I found that's flooded, if you got a solid piece of wood, generally it's really robust for flooding. Stuff like this, it's particle board. Most of the stuff got thrown out, I don't know, a week or two after the storm, because of it just turns to cornflakes. It's like the glue comes apart. So survival of the fittest. Old stuff built well, survive. Stuff that's laminated, particle board, just turns to garbage. See the corrosion on here. And I should be careful with this, because if it pops, I might bop the shit out of my fingers here. Each one of these have probably got a tension between, I don't know, between 100, probably 120 and 160 pounds, I think is what the books show. These are music wires, but because they're so rusted, when you go through and adjust something on there, you should probably back off some and increase it, because generally they break at the other end, at the tuning pin end. But stuff like this tends to get stuck, so that's a mess here. Now, this book here is a real good book. I don't sell this, but this has been very helpful. It shows, let me just put this up on here. It's got, this unit doesn't have the rail lifting pneumatics. It's got the gate box up onto here. It just says air motor governor. And then this is a supply tube here for the air motor. And then the one that's over here is supplies. This is the gate box that goes up and feeds this side. So you got the deck and the valves here. Air motor, spool box. And of course, what I'm looking at right now is this whole unit. In this particular unit, like I said, the bellows, when you dropped it down, there was an extra little bellows that was over here that was like a damper. So the thing would kind of, it acted like it would hit the ground, the floor, within about an inch or two, and it'd go pss, 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 and it would slowly, like a shock absorber, so it wouldn't dent the floor. And that's been removed. This is showing the back side of the unit. Now, when this unit was built, I want to say it had lead tubes on it. At least back when I was a kid, they took this thing apart, and there was a bunch of pieces of lead tubes. I don't know if they always used rubber on it. Some they used lead. This is a cross section of the valves here. There's the air motor. The air motor is up right there. And then that's the bar where the holes are. The way this works is when you have a hole exposed, it goes through and fires one of these pieces. So you can call it digital. So the roll's got holes in it. and it goes downward. And that bellows there is the tracker. And there's a set of fingers up here that sense where the paper is, and this roll moves back and forth in like a closed loop system. But this has been, I really had to toy around to get this thing out of here. In the sense I went through and put some Croil on here, penetrating oil, about a year ago, and then I turned it, those things just gingerly, and it was just lock solid. So by putting some Croil here in the back and letting it sit and then playing around with it, I finally got that busted loose, because I didn't want to have to, I guess I could have just manhandled it and just retapped it to a bigger bolt, because it would probably take a bigger bolt there. But I finally got this thing out of here. It's good to take a camera and take a bunch of pictures of things so you know where they go. And this is typical where you get crap that goes through and the storm floats around a room. And there's the train. With this amount of stuff here is amazing, because I literally had from here, the first foot had none of this stuff in here a couple weeks ago. And this is stuff that has just come down diagonally, because I've been playing on this, and so the vibration has gone through, and this stuff has just kept on going, flowing down here. It's easy to suck the small stuff out of there. It's just the big stuff is you have to try to fish it out, break it up. I sure not got to get in here with an air blaster at first, and if I have to, I found it's easier just to go through and try to break it up. And look at all the junk down here. This control is something added normal. This is a thing that looks like a throttle cable was added in, because this unit originally in the 60s had tacks on it. So this is an Adam Schaaf from 1921. And then this particular note here, last, that's always been like that. That's about right here. So I've got pretty much a lot of these basses sound way better, because there was just a lot of crap on them. And when you get a lot of stuff that's stuck in the coils, some of the guys will go through and take these off and then run them through to get the junk. You get stuff and dirt stuck into the spiral part, and then it'll adds a lot of damping, and it just sounds what they call tubby. And if you replace it, it's probably going to stick out, so you got a kind of dilemma. And there's a, let me zoom in here and see what the, there's the grain you can see of the soundboard. I'll play some notes. That's the one on the far left. Here's the next one up. That's the third one. Fourth one. Fifth one. Sixth one. Tubby bass. So this is the adventure of old piano. Look at all that crap. Flooded piano, salt water. What a mixture. 1921.